So let's take a look at the new user experience in Microsoft Whiteboard. So when I sign in here, I'm going to visit whiteboard.office.com and I'm going to click on New Whiteboard. One of the first things you want to do, as you do with anything, is you want to go ahead and give it a name. So we're going to look at a lesson on photosynthesis. So we'll just call this photosynthesis. So you'll see you have some options up here. You have the select tool, you have an inking tool, and of course you have your create tools, and that's what we're going to look at first. So we'll just go down through each one of these and see what they're used for. Of course, notes are just sticky notes. You have the option of grids, which are a great way of organizing a series of notes, and then you have individual notes. So if I want to just have a note like this, I can drag it down here, and I want maybe a couple different colors for organizing information. But maybe I also want a grid. Some other options are text. You also have shapes. Let's just say we want to point out this green box over here. So we can resize this arrow. We can move on the corner, turn it around, point. We can change the color of it, whatever we need to do. We have reactions. There's a lot of things you could do with reactions. Kids are very accustomed to reactions. One thing that you can use them for is you can use them to vote, as an example. So if you have these three ideas over here and you want the kids to say, hey, here's the one we feel is the strongest or the weakest, or this is the one we like the best, we can vote. We can also say, hey, I don't like this idea. So this is something that you can do. It's also something where you can open up the whiteboard to your students and give them collaborative capabilities, and they can go in and put these reactions in there as well. So if we wanted to add an image, so I'm going to go ahead and move the board up a little bit. It's an infinite whiteboard, which means you can go in any direction as far as you need to. So you can put some things actually off the screen that you might want to look at later, and then pull them in when you're ready for them. So I'm going to go ahead and search my device. It brings up this common thing, which would be Finder in Mac operating system. It would be called Explorer in Windows, depending on what device you're using. So I'm going to pick this image here, and it puts it in my whiteboard. So I can resize it, make it easier for students to see. Students can also, of course, mark this up using the different options in the Create tools. You also have Bing image. So it's a quick link right to Bing to find an image that you might want on the fly and add it. Then you have templates. Earlier in the article, we worked through building a brainstorming template. There are all kinds of templates available to you, which cuts down on the amount of time it takes you to put something together. If you just want to real quickly put together a whiteboard, you can do this ahead of time. Whiteboards can be saved, have it ahead of time, used term after term. You can also do it right on the fly. One of the brainstorming templates that you could choose would be a topic brainstorm. I'm going to click it, bring it over here. Of course, I can resize it. And all of these are editable. They're also collaborative. So you might use this as a way of presenting to students in your class, but you could also open it up to them. Maybe group one has topic one, and they have to add these ideas down here. When everybody's finished, you can come back and you can talk about all the different topics or all the different sections of that class that you would ask them to contribute to. There's problem solving. The cause and effect one is a great one. If I click here and bring it here, let's enlarge it here just so you can see. These are pre-built, so saves a lot of time. Down under learning, there are a lot of familiar ones. You have a Venn diagram here. Let's move this out of the way, and let's put a Venn diagram here. And you'll see it's just the common Venn diagram built for you. You can use the Create tools to add notes to it. You can add thumbs up. You can add a check mark, whatever you need. You can summarize over here. And you can create unique and customized Venn diagrams as well. You have a ticket out the door, which on the fly is a big time saver. Kids can pull this up on their iPad. They can answer these simple questions as their ticket out the door. A lot of different templates will save you a lot of time. The last thing under the Create tools is Documents. If I click on Documents, it gives me this option to go to My Files. So my files are in OneDrive. I'm going to search for my folder called Photosynthesis. Open that up, and I have this option. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and click on this one and insert it. It's tiny. What you can do is you can move it here and you can simply grab the corners and you can resize it to a size that students can see. So as you're using the whiteboard during class, perhaps you want to refer back to this page. Perhaps it's something that you want students to be able to refer to while they're working on a portion of the whiteboard. Shrink this down a little bit. Just like I was able to zoom out, zoom in, you can also use this in another way. So perhaps you go way over here and you bring this article over here for a certain group to work on. So they're going to refer to this and they're going to put notes all the way around it. That can be happening at the same time that way over here, you have another group of students doing something. I want to show you just quickly here. You can do some other things. Let's pull this back in and zoom in a little bit here. You can go up here to the gear wheel and you can format your background. So if we wanted a different color to sort of accentuate the things that we're working on, you can do that. You also have different grids depending on what you're doing that would go across the whole screen. The last thing I want to show you here is the inking. If we click on the inking, it'll bring up this these familiar markup tools. And depending on whether you're on an iPad and you use your finger or you use a stylus or an Apple Pencil, you have these options. You can use your mouse, of course, on a laptop or a desktop. But I want to point something out here. We're going to zoom in. Let's say that we wanted to connect this box over here with this one here. If I choose, say for instance, the red, and I go down here and I choose this arrow, what that allows me to do is I can draw an arrow or draw a line from here to here, let up, and it goes ahead and puts the arrow at the end of it for me. So that's an overview of some of the changes and some of the options available to you within Microsoft Whiteboard. And of course, these are savable. Once you create them, they're saved. They don't go away until you actually delete them. The nice thing about that is you can create them ahead of time if you want them ready to go for a lesson, but you can also create templates, or you can create a whiteboard that you use semester after semester or term after term.